A new poll has showed that Boris Johnson is driving people towards independence. Would you agree with that?
Well, I think the positive case for independence will drive people to vote yes when they next get the opportunity. But I don't think it's any surprise that Boris Johnson reminds people of, the deficiencies of being governed by Westminster when, we end up with governments and prime ministers that people in Scotland don't vote for. And, most people in Scotland didn't vote for Boris Johnson to be prime minister, didn't vote for Brexit and don't want Boris Johnson to be prime minister. But even if he is gone, politically speaking, those democratic deficiencies in the Westminster system will remain for Scotland, and that is one of the main arguments for independence.
Does Boris Johnson care about Scotland?
I can't speak for Boris Johnson. He doesn't behave in a way that says he cares about Scotland, but to be honest, he doesn't behave in a way that says he cares much about anything other than himself, to be perfectly frank about it. So I'm not sure he cares that much about voters in any part of the UK. He seems to, behave in a way that is all about, self-preservation.
One of the reasons that you want to expedite into REF2 is to get control of the welfare budget. How much money do you think is needed to sort out poverty in Scotland?
Well, in Scotland we've just taken over some welfare powers, so we've just established a new payment to help lift children out of poverty, the Scottish Child Payment, and that is putting £20 a week already into the pockets of families with children who are on the lowest incomes. We'll increase that again. So, we will continue to use whatever powers we have in the way that tackles poverty as effectively as we can.
Do you think you could allocate more money than Westminster has?
Well, we are allocating more money to welfare than Westminster has when we get the powers. The Scottish Child Payment, the child payment doesn't exist in any other part of the UK. Of the benefits that have been established under Social Security Scotland, most of them don't exist in any other part of the UK. So when we have these powers, we are using them, and we're using them to good effect. But many of them, universal credit for example, still lie in the hands of Westminster. And as we've put money into the pockets of the poorest through the Scottish Child Payment, of course Boris Johnson's been taking £20 a week out of their pockets through the clawback of universal credit.
On sexual harassment, what's the worst bit of sexism that you've ever experienced?
Look, I don't want to make this debate about me personally. Sexual harassment and sexism and misogyny, it exists on a spectrum. Inappropriate comments at one end of the spectrum through to serious sexual assault and murder of women at the other end of the spectrum. I'm fortunate I've not experienced anything at that serious end of the spectrum, but like all women, I've experienced the inappropriate comments, the sexist and misogynistic abuse. I don't look at it if I can help it on social media, but there will not be a day goes by that I don't, like most women in politics, experience rape threats and threats of violence on social media. So every single woman experiences this at some point in their lives, often at many points in their lives, sometimes every single day. And that's the societal problem we've got to focus on. And it's about male behaviour, and it's male behaviour that has to change.
Last one. It's been about a year since we were talking about the Alex Salmond allegations. What have you done within your own party to make sure there isn't a repeat?
Well, look, the Alex Salmond allegations were about Alex Salmond, and I think it's important to say that. We will continue to tackle the SNP. The Scottish Government are not immune. This is a societal problem, and we will continue to take any issues like that seriously. The Scottish Government, since these allegations were being talked about a year ago and more, as you say, have introduced a new complaints process to deal with some of the concerns that were raised about the complaints process then. So we'll continue to act seriously, as all organisations should.
Do you think that people can take the complaints process seriously if we're not even taking the allegations against two of your MSPs seriously? I mean, the Tories took away the whip from Neil Parish. What have you done?
It's not about not taking them seriously. That process is underway. I don't know what that process thus far has found, and therefore I'm not in a position to comment on it. I will comment on it when it gets a conclusion, but that due process has to take place.